This table's not big enough to have that stuff on there.
Okay. Well, obviously, you're in custody. Miranda would have pledged. Your attorney is present, and I'm sure will advise you. So, just real basics. As far as I understand it, this is going to be, just kind of like we talked about the first time, kind of your chance to tell us whatever you want to tell us. Obviously, we'll want to clarify things and go through things piece by piece, and slow it down, but
this must be made clear from the start. What Brooke experienced does not excuse the crime she committed. Stress, delusion, or desire do not give anyone the right to take control over another person's life. This is not a story of sympathy. It is a story of accountability. And in this case, that responsibility rests entirely with Brooke.
I think to start, I'll just let you go ahead. I'll try to do my best not to interrupt.
Before we get started, one thing I think Brooke would like to clear up. We have reason to believe that Mr. Hain is taking the position that Brooke, the baby, and Mr. Hain may have traveled into Minnesota.
Okay.
Brooke says that never happened, that she and the baby never left Fargo.
Oh.
Okay.
And she'll go into more detail on that, but that she helped Hain load Savannah's body get the body downstairs. He then left and disposed of the body. She has no idea where he went.
Sure.
Okay.
But we wanted to clear that up.
Sure.
And that's obviously something that's on our list, and we'll get into it. And just so you know, this is not, I'm not going to be overbearing in you. I mean, whatever you want to say, like I said, we'll clarify some things. If there's things that we get into that that come up that I may ask you, okay, well, what's the best way do you think for us to be able to verify something or disprove something? Because there's things that that we can, and there's things that we just can't. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so as we go along, we'll touch on that.
Okay.
And if things like that, and if there's something you don't know, you don't know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. So I guess, I don't know, I guess you guys want a little context, maybe?
Context is great, and I'd like to start, I mean, as far back as we can. How...
I want to keep my information, I want to keep what I say relevant
Sure.
to this case. So I don't want to add too much, I don't want to go into too much detail. I guess basically I can start at the beginning. January, February, I believed that I was pregnant. Hindsight being what it is, it must have been one of them situations where, you believe it, you want it so bad that I don't know, my body started responding like I was pregnant. Time went on, months went on. I told myself that I did not, and I do, this is, the way I still believe that I don't believe in, necessarily going to the doctor. I don't believe in, pregnancy is not a sickness, it's a natural thing.
Sure.
And so telling myself that and telling Will that, at the time, we were planning on doing a home birth. Got that ready, time went on. I don't know what he might have told his coworkers. I don't know his coworkers. So I don't know what he told them as far as that goes, but would have been I want to say no later than a week before Savannah went missing, so a week before the 19th of August. And it might not have even been a week. You know, there was no baby, you know, naturally, you know. So he and I got into, we had words. It wasn't really necessarily a knockdown, drag out like we had previously.
Sure.
But I told him that I thought I might need to go to see a doctor because, you know, my mind was starting, you know, logically, you know, there was something going on. And so I knew that it was probably all in my head. And he said to me that you're just going to get there and they're going to tell you that you're not pregnant. And so this was the point when I realized that, okay, I'm not pregnant. So I desperately wanted a baby still. I mean, I desperately wanted a baby still. I mean, a couple days after that, he mentioned Savannah. He said that he saw her downstairs on his way up. I don't know where he was coming from, work or something. And that she was, in his words, very pregnant. And I mean, I knew she lived downstairs, but I didn't really, you know, pay attention. I didn't, due to factors not having anything to do with this, I didn't leave my house much. Now I realize I was isolating myself and all of that. I didn't know that at the time. I just told myself I didn't want to go outside. And then that Saturday, I did go down and get her, and I asked her to come up for reasons that I'd stated for the sewing. And I told myself that I was going to confront her. And I'm looking at you because I lied to you, and I feel really bad that I did.
That's okay.
No, it's not, but anyway. I told myself at the time I justified because I was going to take her baby. I mean, that, you know, I guess was the ultimate goal. But I told myself, like, I justified the violence and the aggression by what I seen her do to my cat, stupid shit. What I seen her do to my cat, and just the family, like, accusing all the neighbors of stealing stuff. That was the rationale. That was the justification that I was using for hurting this girl. And so she came in, and I had the stuff laid out on the desk, which, you know, was by that little hallway. And, you know, and then you turn around, there was the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I did confront her with what I seen her do to my cat, you know, and just all the accusations. And we got into a scuffle. Like, there was a scuffle. And she grabbed my hair, and I pushed her. And when I pushed her, she fell, and she hit her head, the back of her head, on the sink. And she landed right there. Like, that was where it happened, was on my bathroom floor. Like, her head was, like, right by the toilet, and her feet were at the door.
So when you pushed, sorry to interrupt, you pushed her, she kind of fell into the bathroom?
Yeah. Okay. We were in the hall, like, right there. You know how, I mean, I don't know if you remember how it is, but right there. And then I pushed her, and she did fall. And that was when I, you know, took action, I guess, for lack of a better term. And so I grabbed, it was either a utility knife or a blade. And she was waking up. Like, she would pass out, and then she would wake up, and then she would pass back out, and then she would wake up. But it happened so fast. I did cut her. And I took her baby out of her. And then I wrapped the baby. I wrapped the baby in a towel and I laid the baby in the bathtub. So the baby is in the bathtub at the, like, toward the window, head toward the window, away from the faucet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Savannah is still laying in the same spot where she was. Head by the toilet, feet by the door. And I don't know how long it was, like, I wasn't timing it. So I don't know how long it was from when she came in to our confrontation to when, like, the baby was out of her and in the bathtub. But at some point, very shortly after that, Will tries to come in the bathroom door, but he can't get the door open because her feet are there. So he opens it a little bit and he sticks his head in the door and she's laying there and he goes, what the fuck are you doing, or something like that. And at this point I'm sitting beside her and she hadn't woke up, like she hadn't come conscious for a minute or whatever. And I honestly didn't know if she was dead at that point or not. All I know is that she had been coming in and out of consciousness. Like she was not dead when I cut her baby out of her. And I looked at Will and I said, please help me. I was sitting on the floor next to her and I was covered in blood. And he shut the door. And when he came back in, I moved her legs out of the way so he could get in. And when he came back in, he wasn't wearing any clothes and he had a rope in his hand. And he's like, is she dead? And I said, I don't know. And he put the thing around her neck and he tied it. And he says, well, if she wasn't dead before, she is now. And then he grabs some towels and he goes, now I'm going to move her. And when I move her, I want you, because I was just like in shock. Like I couldn't believe what I had done. I was just sitting there. He's like, when I move her, I want you to wipe. And he did this with his hands, side to side motion. And so he moved her a little bit, he lifted her up and then I cleaned a little bit. And then he lifted her upper body and I cleaned a little bit. And then he told me to take the baby and go in the bedroom and take care of the baby. There was no, this is our baby, this is our family. That's a bunch of bullshit. That never happened. So I took the little baby into the bedroom and I got her cleaned up. And I finished cutting her umbilical cord off. And I laid her on a heated blanket. Mm-hmm. And so after I got her cleaned up, I went back into the bathroom. And I guess he had been in there cleaning up. And then we cleaned it up, cleaned the blood up. I had some Fabuloso, an all-purpose cleaner. Mm-hmm. And I just, sprayed stuff down, wiped it up, sprayed it down again, wiped it up, put it all into a black trash bag. And then I got in the shower and he washed me. Like, I couldn't, do anything unless, I was directed at that point. I was out of it. Like, I was not even... You can't be with it if you're going to do some shit like that. So he got me cleaned up. Oh, let me back up. After I got the baby cleaned up, and before I got in the shower, Mr. Graywin knocked on the door and wanted to know, where Savannah was. And that was when I told Mr. Graywin that she had left. I'm amazed that he didn't notice that I had blood all over me because I hadn't changed or cleaned up myself yet. And then after that was when I got in the shower. Will cleaned me up, made sure I didn't have any blood on me. He got in. I got out. I got dressed. At this point, there really wasn't much cleanup left to do. It was already done. Like, we put her, I'm getting ahead of myself. We cleaned up, got the garbage bags, and then he said, I'm gonna lift her, you know, her upper body, like when we started cleaning up, you know, I'm gonna move her, and then so he said, I'm gonna lift up her head. When I do, put the garbage, you know, the bags over her top, and then we'll do the bottom. And so then we did that, and we put her in the bathroom closet. Shut the door. Then we got cleaned up because her body was not in the bathroom on the floor when we got in the shower. At least I don't remember it that way.
Okay.
So then we got cleaned up. After that, I think then Mrs. Graywin came up, and Will had left to go get beer or something or another. I don't know. He disappeared for quite some time, and I don't still to this day know where he went or what he was doing when he left. And I sat on the steps with Mr. Graywin for a minute, and went back in. And then at this time, the bathroom was pretty much cleaned up.
Brooke believed she was pregnant, when the truth became unavoidable. That she was not. She refused to accept reality. Instead, her desire took a dangerous turn. The decision was deliberate. She knowingly invited a pregnant woman into her apartment with one intention: to take that woman's baby. This was not an accident. It was a calculated decision.
Savannah was in the closet. The baby was in the bedroom. And then, I don't remember what time it was, but Fargo police knocked on the door. And then they come in. I let them in. And they asked me, you know, when did she leave? What kind of mood she was in? You know, and I lied. And they left. Well, he looked around. He said, "You mind if I look around?" And at this time, he didn't look in any closets. There was really no need for him at that point to look in any closets. And he looked around. Will was in the bedroom. The baby on our bed, there was his pillows here and then my pillows. And the baby was right there in between the two pillows. He was sitting on my side of the bed, drinking a beer. And I don't remember which officer it was, but the officer came in and, you know, he said something to the effect of, "Well, you're not Savannah, are you?" to Will. And Will was like, "Nope, I'm not Savannah." And then the officer left. And then a couple hours later, he knocks back on the door and, you know, lets me know that Savannah's mom wants him to check the closets. And he comes in, and I think he's like, you know, "If you have any weed you want to put away or anything else you want to put away, we're not here for that." So
Sure.
Then I went to the bedroom, put my weed pipe away, and, you know, made sure all that was cleaned up. And then he comes in. I didn't have any closet doors on my bedroom closet, so naturally there wasn't anything, you know, he'd look in. And I don't think he looked in the bathroom. I mean, we had the boxes. She was in the closet, and there were some few boxes, you know, a couple small boxes in front of her. So like, if you took like a cursory glance in the bathroom closet, you weren't going to see like a body. Like, her legs, the way that she was laying was, you know, her head was toward the bathroom door, and her legs were kind of up a little bit up against that little, like the access point for the plumbing. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Her legs were up against that. So, and I think they were kind of bent at that time as well. So I don't remember if he did, but if he did look in there at that time, he probably wouldn't have seen anything. And so then they left. And then I kept saying to Will, I want to take the baby downstairs. Do you think we should call the police? No, don't do that. Don't do that. They'll forget about her. That's what he said. And so then Sunday, he gets up probably about 10:30 and takes his dresser and starts taking the front off of his dresser, the face
Okay.
of the drawers, right?
Okay, just
So
the fronts of the
Yeah,
drawers.
so he's basically hollowing out the dresser.
Okay.
And we pulled her out of the bathroom closet and put her in this hollowed out dresser. Like, he took the face off all the drawers and then he nailed the face back onto the dresser itself
Sure.
so that it looked, like,
Looked intact.
yes. And so we put her into this dresser, and then he nailed all the face of the dresser on to the dresser itself. And then we just stood the dresser up. And a couple hours later, that was when you and the other police officer showed up and looked more thoroughly through the apartment for her. The baby was still in the same spot in the bed.
In the bed.
And I don't think you even came into the bedroom.
I think I did, but I looked in the closet.
Right. So the baby was still in the bed. Every time the police came in, the baby was in the same spot. Like, that was where she stayed. And then he got, like, really drunk that night. And he's like, we got to move the body. And I was like, well, okay. And he said, I'm going to go to sleep. And I hadn't slept, like, since this happened. Like, I hadn't slept at all. And he's like, I'm going to go to sleep and you wake me up at about 2:30. So in the morning, and this would have been early Monday morning. And I said, well, okay. So at about, right before I woke him up, so 2:15 or whatever, I went outside and I looked around and everybody looked like they were sleeping and it was quiet. And I got the truck unlocked. And then I woke him up and helped him carry the dresser with Savannah's body in it to the truck. And we had discussed what to do with her. And I told him, please don't put her in the water. I don't know why. I just didn't want her going into the water. Once I helped him get her loaded up into the truck, he left. Like, we parted ways in the parking lot behind the apartment building where the truck was. I went back upstairs because I was, like, terrified that the Graywoods were going to kick my door in. I only left 2 times from Saturday when it happened until I was arrested on Thursday. I did not leave at all. I only left the 2 times. Once was to try and go do laundry at the Busy Bubbles around the corner. They were closed because we got there late. And then the next time was when he got arrested for that outstanding fine. When he had that accident in the Walmart on 13th Avenue South. I don't remember what day that was, Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember what day.
It was Tuesday.
I was with him at that Walmart. But that was the only time I left. And then he left. He was gone an hour and a half. And then he came back. And then the only thing we talked about after that was whether or not I should take the baby downstairs, because I really just wanted to take the baby downstairs. You're going to go to jail if you do that? That's what he said. And honestly, that's about it. I mean, I can't really, nothing else. I didn't at the time, I didn't anticipate that, like, wasn't connected that she was going to die. Like, I just wanted her baby. And he knew I wasn't pregnant. I mean, he might have known, like I did, like in my deluded state, that, you know, I wanted a baby so bad I had convinced myself I was pregnant, you know. But he had made that comment to me just days before this happened. And then he said, well, I saw the Gray One's daughter, because I didn't know her name. I saw the Gray One's daughter, and she's really pregnant. And that was what gave me the idea that, you know, hey, I can just have her. It's insane.
Why do you think William told you that?
Told me that Savannah was very pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I want to say that he was suggesting, you know, but I don't want to go that far. That would just be speculation on my part, you know. But I know that he, I don't know, he's got his own issues, so. And I don't want to, you know, speculate or attribute things that I don't know to be fact. I just know that I was not consciously trying to keep in a relationship with him. That much I can tell you. It wasn't one of those situations, you know. I was really ready to kick his ass to the curb.
Yeah.
But I can say that I wrote him a letter on his computer the day after we had that. So I can't tell you exactly which day. Like he said to me, like he indicated to me that he knew that I wasn't pregnant. Mm-hmm. I can't give you an exact day, but I do know that the day after that was when I wrote him that letter on his computer. So yeah, I mean.
Saying what?
Just talking about the argument that we had and, you know, that I was trying to straighten myself out and I was hoping that he was trying to straighten himself out because, you know, we fought a lot over, you know, principles and ideals and the way that things should be and versus the way that they were, so.
Sure.
And I just, you know, want to accept responsibility for what I did and what happened and
Well, I appreciate you doing that.
One, and just as you were talking here, I'm just absorbing and trying to think of stuff. And before I forget, when you say the truck, you're talking about the Jeep?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Some people call Jeeps trucks, some people don't.
So, I'm just trying to think here because the day that I was in your apartment,
Yeah.
Where was that dresser at in that apartment?
It was in the bedroom.
It was in the bedroom?
Just right inside the door. Yeah.
Kind of where the laundry basket was later.
Exactly where the laundry basket was.
What was the dresser look like?
Is it a tall or is it?
It was more tall than it was broad.
Okay.
It was brown, wooden, not very well made. It cracked several times trying to get it down the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
How many dresser or drawers would there be?
5, I want to say, because there was more than 4. It was taller than that.
Okay.
But deep enough to fit a person in.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where she was at.
Okay. And do you know where that dresser is now? Did it ever come back?
I have no idea, no.
Okay.
No. And it wasn't in the truck, so.
Was it big enough where you had to fold down the seats in the back of the Jeep to get it in there?
That's what I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when we put her in, we just lifted the hatch on the truck and tilted the dresser back, you know, up against the bumper like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
And then she just slid in. So.
Okay.
Pick it up by the legs and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go.
So, back to this fight with her.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe a little bit more of that fight? What kind of...
It happened really fast.
altercation was
Like,
it?
I said to her, how it started was, I asked her why, something to the effect of, why are you constantly accusing people of stealing your stuff? And I saw you hurt my cat the other night.
What is that? What's the cat situation?
A couple of days before this happened, I was taking Will up to the beer store to get more beer. And on our way back in, and she didn't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that she didn't know that that was my cat. But there had been a cat that belonged to the neighbor above them that was, peeing all over the place. But my cat was an inside cat, and she was a kitten, and she accidentally had gotten out. And as we were coming in, Savannah was coming in at the same time, and I seen her take my cat. And she slugged my cat. And then she went and she shut both entries so that my cat couldn't get back in the house or into the apartment building.
Like thinking maybe it was just a feral cat or something, trying to keep it outside?
Well, her mother had made some comments about letting her dogs eat the cats that were in the apartment building previously. And so at that time, I was just pissed off because, it was constant. Like, they weren't neighborly. The only time they ever knocked on my door was to accuse me. And all the other neighbors, it wasn't like they were singling me out.
Right.
And then when I seen her do that to the cat, so then that was how, I asked her why was she constantly accusing people of stealing her stuff? And then I confronted her with the cat. I said, I saw what you did to my cat. And she said, oh, no, that wasn't me. That was my sister. And I said, no, that was you. And then that was when she was like, what, bitch? And she grabbed a hold of my hair, and then I pushed her. And that's basically it. I mean, that was the gist of the argument that was had, Like I say, though, hindsight being what it was,
But
that was just a damn excuse.
well, I understand that. That now it's a little obviously clearer for you to see that you're just trying to justify these
Right,
things to
that's
yourself.
exactly,
That makes sense to me. The plan when you went down to her apartment was to get her to your apartment to facilitate getting the baby.
Getting the baby, yes.
And the fact that just like a one push argument and she's unconscious in your bathroom.
Well, she hit her head.
Right. It sounds amazing to me. You know what I mean? I'm not accusing you of lying. It's like how it's like a stars align sort of a thing as far as your plan is concerned. You know what I mean? Like,
I think the whole thing is amazing. Like, just...
Well, I can't argue with you there, but do you know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Like your goal is to facilitate taking this baby, and with one push you're able to render her unconscious in your bathroom.
Well, she didn't stay unconscious. I mean, she was only out for a few minutes, and then she came to,
right.
And then she went out again. And
were you already cutting at that time?
Yeah.
She came back too?
Yeah. Every time.
Okay.
It was like every time I cut her, she would wake up.
And she just pass out again?
And she would just go back out again.
Okay.
I don't think she had, because she kept coming to. I don't think she really, I don't think the head injury was fatal, you know what I mean? Or, even extremely serious, but she did hit her head, and that was when she initially, had passed out and then fell.
Well, and that was my next question. Was she, when she hit her head, but is she out? Like UFC, knocked out, you're out?
Yeah.
Brooke repeatedly labeled her actions as mental distress, desperation, or circumstance. But these explanations all served one purpose: to avoid full responsibility. When a person begins to treat desire as entitlement, they stop seeing the victim as a human being with autonomy and rights. This was not confusion. This was a moral failure.
Yeah, and she landed right there on the floor, and that was where she stayed. And then she would come to, but she was real weak. And her hands were kind of clenched up a little bit. And yeah, she just kept coming in and out. And then, like I say, it happened really fast. And then the baby was out in the bathtub. And I don't believe that she was dead at that point. I really don't. But she hadn't, like, and I wasn't timing it. I didn't have, like, a watch.
I get that.
I didn't have a watch, so it's like, I don't know, like, how long she was out from the last time that she went out until Will started coming in the door. I don't know, like, how long that interval was, but.
And this is obviously the tough questions, and I do want to get more details about that, but maybe we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to back up.
Okay.
Before you do that, Josh,
Go ahead.
can we take a minute real quick?
Sure.
Okay. Is there anything we can get for you guys? Any water or anything like that?
Where was I? Oh, I was going to go back in time. Just to start kind of taking this thing apart kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
And just for, and I might have probably told you this the first time that we talked. My brain works one way, chronologically. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, otherwise I'll be drooling on the floor. So.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. I kind of did it really quick.
Yep, no, and that's great. It kind of gives me somewhere to go.
Okay.
So you had mentioned that you first initially thought you were pregnant. You said January, February sometime.
Yeah, January. It was more January.
Okay. And did you do anything as far as, I know you said you're not a doctor person, and I get that.
Right.
You said you sort of prepared for a home birth. What sorts of things? I mean, because you
Toward the end, I didn't do much. The first half of the year, but a month or so, maybe 2 months before August, I just started looking up like childbirth, how to clean out the baby's airway, things like that. Pretty generic stuff. I mean, I've had children. I know how it goes.
Well, right, and I was gonna, and I don't know, how many children do you have?
Oh, I've given birth 7 times.
7.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're familiar with the process.
Very familiar, yes, sir. Very familiar. That's why, and that was another thing. Like in my delusion, in my desire to have another child, I figured I had it all. Like, it seems like really insane for me to even talk about now. Now that I'm on psych meds and I'm getting it all worked out, seems really insane for me to think about now. But in my mind then, I was getting geared up to have a baby. Like, stupid. But yeah, just your basic, cutting the umbilical cord.
Sure.
Things like that. Just really generic stuff.
Because there's things like, that I'm sure or can assume that we know. You talked about, internet search history and all that.
Yeah.
And I think there was books and things in the apartment about having babies, or I can't remember if you or maybe Will told me this. I think it was Will that there was some mention of that. Basically, you made yourself into you could have taken the doula test. That you were prepared for a home birth.
Well,
I don't know if that was you or Will.
My knowledge about childbirth comes from giving birth to children.
From experience.
So anybody with any kind of knowledge of having a baby could probably take a doula test and pass it. But,
well, yeah, and that was my own words.
Right. So I mean, as far as that goes, I was confident that I could give birth at home. Unless there was some kind of issue, and then in which case it seems really crazy to talk about it now, but, you know, in worst case scenario, if something went wrong, then you call 911, you know, so.
Sure.
But I don't know. So many things happened the end of last year and the first half of this year that I was like, not at all with it. Like, I don't know. I can't give you a cut and dry answer as to my state of mind or what I was trying to do or.
Well, and Brooke, I'm not, you know, and I understand all of that.
No, I'm just trying to, like, Will was dead set on selling drugs. I was dead set against it. He left several times. I was trying to get him back. You know, that much is true because he was just hanging out with some really bad people.
Sure.
In March, I had Clay County knock on my door looking for him. I lied about him being there. I told the police it was him. It was Clay County detective and social service from Clay County. He hid in the bedroom. I told him he wasn't here. You know, well, where is he? I don't know. He might be over in Moorhead somewhere. Well, we checked there. He's not there. It's like, well, I don't know. When they left, I confronted him, and he came clean about molesting a girl. Going back 2 years before that, I caught my 12-year-old son molesting my daughter. So my state of mind,
Bunch of stuff going on.
Holy cow, like, I should have just checked myself into prayer and called it a day, you know?
Sure.
So, I'm sure a lot of shit happened, you know, that I'm leaving out, that I can't account for, or whatever. I just knew that having babies was what I did good. There was a lot of things that I did bad. And so anyways.
Sure.
When was the first time you thought about this plan?
About taking Savannah's baby?
Or taking any babies?
It would have been the Thursday before. So, the 17th.
Thursday before?
Yeah.
You had gone down that weekend before that and offered her some marijuana.
No, I did not offer her marijuana. I had some that came from Seattle.
Oh, okay.
And I knew from what, because Norberta and I were the only, like, she was the only.
Brooke had multiple chances to stop. She could have asked for help. She could have accepted the truth. She could have walked away. She chose not to. She harmed another human being. Because, in her mind, a desire had become justification. That moment defines the crime. When someone knowingly chooses the wrong path.
Only one of the family that I talked to.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me that her husband and her daughter, the other daughter, I think her name is Kayla, that they smoked.
Oh, okay.
And so when that stuff came from Seattle, I was trying to be neighborly because of all the accusations. Like, I figured, well, if I got to know the family, they would know that it's not me that stole their rug, and it's not me that stole their fishing poles, you know, or their mail, you know. And so I went down there in a gesture of solidarity, if you will, and was offering to smoke them out. And they weren't there, so I left.
Okay. So that...
Norberta was very clear when I spoke with her early on that you had spoken with her at her door and specifically asked for Savannah the week before.
No, I did not speak with Norberta at all the week before. I spoke with Savannah the week before and asked if her sister was home. And she said no, her sister and her dad were not home, that they were expected back. And that's the God's honest truth. That's how that went down.
When on this day that you did go get her and bring her up to have her come up to your apartment, was there any delay in time there? Did you knock on the door and like, hey, I need a hand, and she just came right out, or did she come up a few minutes later?
No, it was a few minutes later.
Okay.
Like, she was busy cleaning or doing something, she said, and she would come up.
Right.
you know, when she got done doing whatever it was she was doing.
And the reason I bring that up is because that's what Norberta was referencing to me when I spoke with her, at least, was that, and this was on Saturday or maybe it was Monday morning or whatever it was, pretty early on when I spoke with Norberta, that in that interim time where you had come and requested Savannah come help you with the sewing project, Savannah had a discussion with Norberta about whether or not she should go up there.
Okay.
Because she felt kind of uneasy and told
I wish
Norberta
she wouldn't have.
About this week before that you had come. Maybe it was Savannah that you had spoken to the week before.
Yeah, it was.
Which kind of creeped her out a little bit. Like, I'm, obviously very pregnant. No, I don't want to smoke.
I didn't ask, but I didn't ask her.
Maybe she felt
Maybe
that
that was
way.
her interpretation.
And she might have. She might have. And all too, you got to understand the context of the whole neighbors. We weren't exactly
Sure.
neighborly. All the neighbors hated each other, for lack of a better term, and they thought that their neighbors, and they didn't know who
Yeah.
was stealing from them. So,
Sure.
Well, and it's the reason why we ask that, these questions, and sometimes you're going to have to reframe it for us like you did right there, is
Okay.
because we're getting information from, lots of different people.
Sure.
People are telling us stuff. We
Sure.
know that some of the stuff that people have told us has been just a flat out lie.
yes.
And I mean, that's why it's
Myself
important.
included.
Well, that's why it's important that we know and you reframe those things if that's the case.
That's why I'm not sure about context, because it's like, I want you guys to understand, like, my frame of mind, what happened, what the dynamics were.
Sure.
Let's talk about the rope. You said that Will had come in, saw what was going on,
Will like to choke.
and then came back with the rope.
Yes.
Will liked to choke. What do you mean by that?
I don't know if it was the same rope that he used, but Will, when we were having sex, Will liked to choke me.
Sure. That's actually not that unusual of a thing.
No.
And so I that was what my thought was, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, no,
suggest
Will
it.
that was his thing. He liked to choke.
Would he use? And you said you weren't not sure if it's the same one. Would he use
Yes.
ropes?
Sometimes his hand, sometimes rope.
Okay. And that was Will was into that. Were you into that at all?
I was into it because he was.
Sure, I understand that. And just to tie that into, like the internet search history,
Ugh.
there was one specific one, and I'm not going to quote because I don't have it in front of me, something along the lines of how to make a noose or some research on how to do this. And this was months before. I don't know exactly when.
It's in February, right around Valentine's Day.
If there was a search about how to make a noose, that's because I was going to kill myself. And again, it goes back to the relationship. But I wasn't at all thinking about killing another person at that time. That just goes to my state of mind, like where I was at.
Okay.
So, right around Valentine's Day, you and Will had a fairly large fight. About Tanith, I think it was.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so that was right around that same time
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah. It was constant. Like it was really never ending, like with the push and pull between us as far as I didn't understand why he couldn't just leave the desire to get rich quick. Just to,
Yeah.
his only way to get ahead was to sell dope, know, and she was the conduit for that.
Sure.
So
Tanith is kind of the
I had a big,
drug
huge
person. Because she seems like she has a really weird relationship. I've never figured out the Tanith thing.
I couldn't figure out why she would want anything to do with him after what he did to her
Yeah.
cousin or whatever. Like,
Well, now, she's still close enough where, like, she knows everything about everything with William. I mean, she's even visiting him in jail.
oh, of
And
course, naturally.
Yeah.
Naturally.
I never understood that
That's
relationship there.
it's one of the big problems I had was I lost custody of my kids because of his child abuse charge. Like, my ex-husband was pissed when he found out I was dating a guy who had a child abuse charge. And so my big thing was, why aren't you doing anything to get into your child's life? And when he would go and like sell drugs to Tanith or arrange to buy drugs through Tanith, I would be like, well, she never, all the years you've known her, she's never encouraged you to make it right with your kid, man. Like, how do you justify that? So, but for me to go in detail, like, I only know what I know about his weird relationship with Tanith. Like, that's
probably a whole 12-hour conversation.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. With him, because I don't know. All I know is that whenever I got tough about responsibilities and doing what you needed to do to get your life together, he would run to her. So.
Okay. So that kind of explains the search in February. Now, there were a couple other searches that were located in regards to, like, how, and I don't have direct.
The investigation made one thing clear. Brooke repeatedly attempted to reshape the story in her favor, portraying herself as a victim and shifting blame. But facts do not change. A crime remains a crime, no matter how it is explained. This case is a reminder that mental health struggles require treatment, but they do not excuse harming another person.